Hello Toy Collector fans, Universal Toy Collector here and welcome to the channel. And welcome to another episode of My Collecting Life, the weekly series where I get to chat with you, members of the toy collecting community, about your own personal collections. Finding out what got you into collecting in the first place and what gives you that toy collecting buzz. Okie dokie then, so we are back with another episode and another guest. And who is the guest on this week's episode, I hear you will ask? Ooh, well, why don't we all find out? Sit yourselves down, put your feet up, make yourselves comfortable, and let's take a look at some of his collection in a musical montage. Okay then, so once again we are treated to another fantastic collection. There was so much stuff that I had to write this down. So we had a bit of Star Wars, we had some Funko Pops, we had some wrestling figures, Turtles, I think there were Street Sharks, we had some Lord of the Rings, some Simpsons, a bit of DC, and plenty of board games, and a whole lot more to boot. It is a pleasure to welcome to the channel for the first time, Dean from Totally Taylor Retro Hunters. Hello, sir. How are you?
How are you, Stu? Thank you.
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate you doing this, being part of the series. Thank you.
No, thank you. Actually, like you reached out to me, and I've seen a lot of the collection life videos that you've put up. So to be a part of that, I really do appreciate that.
Oh no, it's a pleasure. The pleasure's all mine. Definitely. So you're saying you've seen some of them. So basically, say 10 questions for you, all about you and your collection. Run time roughly about an hour. And so if you're good to go, let's crack on.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Awesome stuff. What toy lines were you into as a kid? And what memories do you have of those toy lines?
So toy lines that I was into as a kid heavily was the Turtles. So the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Playmates. So I love those figures. But my biggest collection that I probably would have had playing alongside them as a kid was the Power of the Force 2 Star Wars figures. So
Okay, yeah.
receiving the first wave of those red card back or orange card back figures, I actually got all of them besides C-3PO from Santa Claus. So Santa had them in my Santa sack. I opened them up. I'd never seen them before. Like, what was that, 95?
Right.
So
Yeah, around about that time, yeah.
I was born in 84, so I was only like 10 years old. I'd never seen them on the shelf, so seeing Star Wars figures that I could collect and I could play with was pretty amazing. I have an older brother and a younger brother. So my older brother's born in the 70s, so he was into the Kenner vintage Star Wars figures. So he had all them. I got to play with them, but having my own, I thought that was just fantastic. But like I said, Santa gave me all those figures besides C-3PO, and I thought that was really odd. I was like, how could you give me all of them besides that one?
C-3PO, yeah. Was he hard to come by then in where you are?
I don't think so, but he must have been talking to my father. So when we went out for the Christmas tree and opened our presents from our parents, C-3PO was under the tree.
Oh, okay.
Had the nice first series of the big, nice, bulky Power of the Force 2, and it just hooked me. So I collected them for a very long time, and
it was a big wave, wasn't it? I mean, they did a lot of figures in that wave for sure.
Massive amount, and like running back then, you were using the card backs to figure out what figures were coming.
Yeah.
Not as easy as it is now with a quick Google search and a wiki.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But going back to Turtles was my thing as well. So, like I said, 3 boys in the family. Each of us had sort of a different toy line. I don't know how my parents afforded it. So, older brother's Star Wars vintage, bit of Motu. I was the Turtles and the Star Wars. My younger brother was sort of the Action Man. And Lego. So
yeah.
And you wouldn't have seen any Lego in my collection from those photos. So
no, you're not into Lego then.
Well, no, it's just too many parts, too hard, and it's some of them now. Some of the really cool ones from the 80s and 90s, they're just way too expensive. So
that is the trouble with Lego, isn't it? I mean, it is very pricey for what it is.
Yeah. So there's definitely cool sets they bring out now, like those massive play sets like the Death Star and things like that. But Ed's room, you saw this is a jam-packed room.
It is. I've got to say, it is an impressive collection. I will give you that, definitely.
Thank you.
And you're saying about Lego, and there's like lots of bits and stuff like that. I feel the same way about Turtles. It's not a small line, is it?
No, absolutely not. Like, it ran for 10 years. So for a toy line to run for that long, take away Star Wars, what other things have been running for 10 years non-stop?
Yeah, true.
And so my focus right now is 1988 wave to 1992. So the first 4 waves, they're achievable financially and availability. So you can find them. I can find them at conventions. So I'm from Australia, and we don't have as many conventions as you do over there, and in the States they have, like, feels like they're on every weekend. But so we have what we have, and you can see, like, most of this collection, probably about 70% of my Turtles and Star Wars collection is actually my childhood collection.
Wow. That's pretty cool. With the Turtles, so you say it ran for 10 years as a like a toy line. Was it predominantly the same figures that are getting released time and time again? So you had all these different variations of the figures, or did they generally have that many figures and characters within the Turtle property?
They definitely had different figures in each wave.
Yeah.
But they also re-released a lot of the first, second, third waves just on different card backs and things like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
there was a lot of gimmicky turtles. So like Bodacious birthday turtles, where they're just dressed up like a clown or like a happy birthday.
Oh, right. Okay.
It started getting really, really out there. You started having Transformer sort of turtles,
Mm.
and just wacky turtles. It got to a point where I guess I just lost interest in what they were trying to achieve. They were trying to go too far out of the box, and
Yeah.
For me, the nostalgia for my childhood is those first four waves. So having them, and they got some heavy hitters in there like Doc L and Scratch and all that. They're in those waves.
Yeah.
Like Scratch Loose in Australian dollars, it probably cost you nearly $2,000 for a complete one.
Good God. Really? Wow. Wow.
I've got a nice 3D printed glow in the dark Scratch in my collection right now. So
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Wow.
it is a lot of money, especially for just one toy. So
Yeah.
I love the Playmates, the colors that they put into them. Like they really catch you as a kid. They still catch me now.
Yeah.
My wife always comes out and catches me just snickering. My wife
So
always
is it, I was going to say, is it just so you're not into like the NECA turtles or anything like that, or the more sort of like up to date modern day version turtles? It's just predominantly the ones that you had as a kid.
I've got a lot going on in my collection. I do try to have some sort of focus or plan for it. I don't buy the NECA turtles or the Super Sevens. It's not that's not something I want to get into because it's just as big in some of them. Like you're looking at it. You would have saw I got some of the giant NECAs, so I was actually gifted those at Christmas by a couple of family members, and my wife bought me one. So that's probably the only NECA I really got, and I'm missing Michelangelo, and he's kind of become a little bit hard to find. So yeah, I like Playmates. I'm all about Playmates.
Yeah. And with your Star Wars, so you said that you had your brother's Kenner figures and stuff like that, so they were the first introduction of Star Wars for you. When you saw the Power of the Force figures come out, and did you compare the two, and did you think, hang on, what's going on here, or did that not bother you at all with the size difference? And it didn't.
No, it didn't bother me at all. You would have saw a shelf of my vintage collection, which I got all the knockoffs. I got all the ones found at op shops back in the 90s. I remember picking up a shoebox for 50 cents, and it was just full of vintage Star Wars figures. So mine were all beaten, bashed, and loved. So when I compared them against, I don't think I actually even put them up against each other as a comparison. So I was just happy to have fresh Star Wars. Like it was all happening. Star Wars Special Edition was happening a few years later. Episode 1 was just that was insane. Like the marketing and the merchandise was insane. We had a Toys R Us probably about 900 meters down the road from us.
Oh, wow.
That came up. And while I went there, I didn't have a great deal of pocket money or things like that. So it was all just enjoying the shelves. But they announced that they were doing the episode 1 midnight launch for the figures. So I remember going to Dad and Mum and saying, can someone take me down? Like, it's only 800 meters. Let's go. And I did go down. There was probably 200-300 people there lined up.
Wow.
And like even in that little Toys R Us, it was just like you see on the YouTube videos where it's just people grabbing every figure that they could, every piece of merchandise, and they did go crazy with them.
Yeah, I mean, just sticking with that topic for the time being, why do you think that's changed? Because it was an event, wasn't it? It was an event in itself, and they don't seem to do that anymore. And I just think it's such a shame.
It is a shame.
Really is.
And they used to do it a lot with a lot of things, like the movie. Like you would go watch episode 1 at 12:01 at the cinema, and everyone there, they'd be dressed up. They do it with gaming as well. Like there'd be the launch of the video games at 12 o'clock. You'd have to go get it, but now you can just sit at home and press the download button. But why don't they do it now? I wish they did. I wish they just did it as like a special select and just
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
get thousands. Pick a
I
few
mean, I
stores.
remember when because like Return of the Jedi was the first film that I went to go and see from the three original trilogy films at the big pictures, the theater, and they had a massive display of all the new Star Wars figures that are out for the film. You know, you had Rancor and Luke with the Gamorrean Guard, then you had the AT-AT with the Ewok Village and all that sort of stuff. And I just remember sitting there thinking, this is absolutely incredible. And listen, we in the UK didn't make such a big thing of things, you know, like they do like in America and, you know, the Toys R Us and stuff like that. So, but just to see that back in the 80s and to see all those new toys out, and it was just like you wanted to go and watch the film, then you wanted to go and play with your figures at home. You wanted the stuff for Christmas, and do you know what I mean? And I just think it's a shame that it's not like that these days, because I personally feel kids are missing out on that kind of event, that kind of thing. The excitement, the you know, the emotion behind it and all that sort of stuff. It's like you say, it's just too easy online now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 100%. And even as a sort of nostalgic adult that does this, I miss out on that as well. I have a 2-year-old, so with the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie that came out, Sydney did they turned one of the stations into a big turtle lair.
Oh wow!
I thought that was really, really cool. That was run by Paramount Plus, and they made it all dark, and it was all like sort of graffiti in there.
Oh, wow, cool.
It was for the kids, but as an adult, I got to go into the turtle lair. I thought that was fantastic. He loved it. What a day! So, Star Wars, they could do something like that. I guess you've got the Disney parks if you really want to get into it. But
it's quite funny because the Turtles, by the time the Turtles had come out, I was kind of like in my mid-teens, so I was kind of like growing out of toys at the time. But even now, it would scare the living bejesus out of me to go down that line and try and collect that line, because, like you say, there's just so many figures. I don't have the space to put them anyway, and I wasn't really sort of like into the Turtles. You know, I've got no connection to it, but I am kind of tempted. Me and Georgie have been talking about the NECA Turtles and maybe like getting those at some point, because they do look fairly decent. But because it's just the 4 figures. There's not a load of other figures to go with it, kind of thing. You know, we get the 4 main Turtles, and I don't know what else they've done with NECA, because like I say, I don't look into it that much, but it does scare me, that original toy line, for sure.
Yeah, 100% right. That the detail on the NECA and Super 7s is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, 70% of the Turtles are my childhood. So
that's incredible. That's incredible.
Shout out to my dad. He just packed them all in a box.
Yeah.
We got to go through them. So what you said as well, Stu, so through my 20s, you stepped away from collecting toys and video games and went out and lived life a little bit more with other distractions. But my dad had the foresight. He just put it all in a box, put it all down the shed. And it was in my 30s, early 30s, I started asking him about it. And I was going, what is this? What happened to that? And we went through it. And luckily enough, like, a lot of the weapons were still there. Like, there was a lot of Google Lens to figure out what was what, like mountains of accessories.
That's insane.
A few of the figures, they do have accessories that are just like, they're smaller than your pinky nail. Like they're tiny. Like, and nothing that would pass the current standard for accessories these days.
Yeah, it's all quite big and chunky, isn't it? Most of it. With the Star Wars line, then, how deep did you go into that? Because again, that ran for quite a while. There was a lot of waves, and I think the figures progressively got kind of like better, more toned down, more realistic looking. How far into that line did you go?
So, like I said, I slowed down in my 20s. So I probably got to probably Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
And a little bit of the Clone Wars first phase. But my father's a collector as well.
Okay.
So
cool.
That's kind of where I got the collecting bug from. And I always collected. Like 1988, I kept my card backs off my Turtles because I just thought they were cool. Why not keep them?
Wow.
Same with Star Wars. I kept all my card backs. I just liked looking at them, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did. But my dad kept picking up nothing, not like a completionist. We just picked up the ones that he liked. I kept getting at least one figure from him every Christmas. It was just sort of a running thing in our family. But I got back into it probably about 4 years ago. I got back into it.
What, collecting?
Well, collecting Star Wars.
Okay.
Looking back at that and going, okay, I should pick up some of these figures. Like really looking at the vintage collection. Like they're fantastic. I love them, and I wish I started when they started. So I've missed out on a few, but I'm chipping away at them. But the line that I love is the 30th anniversary line. I think that.
Well, funny enough, I'm into that myself at the moment. I've just picked up a few figures at a local toy, or not a local toy fair, the toy fair at NEC and Echo Live. So, but
but like that was a line where they decided just to start making a few of the Alien figures and a few of the figures that you'd never seen before. Good figures. There was some pretty bad waves here and there, with especially the Clone Wars era. So, not into them much.
Ah, sweet. So, as a kid, then, what was? I mean, it was predominantly Star Wars and Turtles, but what was your favorite, or is it just basically generally those two?
Well, there were sort of different phases. The Turtles was the start of toys that I can remember.
Yeah.
So I was playing with them when I was, 8? And then Star Wars came along in 95. So I was in year 5. What would I be then? 10, 11, 12?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. So, they kind of mixed together. I didn't play with them together. So I didn't play Turtles against Star Wars. But I think Star Wars sort of took over at the back. I started making my own massive play sets. My dad started helping me build play sets that either he couldn't afford. Like we built our own Ewok Village play set.
Wow.
So we just used pipes and wood and that and just built our own one. We built our own Jabba's Palace. Wow. So if HasLab wants to look at that. But it had the trapdoor and everything. So that was pretty cool. You put it on the table and play with that. And then I built my own Geonosis Arena, which my dad wasn't too happy about because I filled the spare room up with kitty litter.
Oh, right. Okay.
To the ground. And then I brought rocks and plants and everything inside and just made a mess. I blew up the vacuum trying to clean that up. You can imagine.
Oh, really?
But the photos I took back then, I just thought that was fantastic. Like it was a great experience. So
that was a good thing about, using your imagination and building stuff yourself, because obviously, when I was younger, we didn't have these big play sets that we've got now and stuff like that. But using our imagination, using like a table as a landing platform or something like that, or like a set of cupboards as a hidden base or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's just amazing what the imagination can do. Yeah.
Your white bed sheet for Hoth.
Yeah.
Or your cream-colored bed sheet for Tatooine. Chipping away at the freezer to get some ice to recreate a Hoth scene in the sink. So
it's just incredible the stuff we used to get up to. It really was. So you touched on it briefly. You said you kind of slowed down collecting in your 20s. So what was it then that sort of like spurred you back onto wanting to collect again?
I'd say sort of video games. I kept playing video games through my 20s. There was like Call of Duty was huge. I loved playing that. So I always picked up a video game here and there. I always just had a quick look at eBay, especially for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah.
Yes. So I always had a look, and I stumbled across Retro Rick. I stumbled across his channel because I was like, what do people do with all these games? Like, and I just started Googling, like, what can I do with my games? So that sort of got me thinking. And then I started noticing people had rooms and we had just bought our first house with my wife, and I was like, I'm gonna go and ask, can I make a room?
Wow.
It was like, yeah, and like that's when I started talking to my dad and saying, do you have my old stuff? And then yeah, it branched out. So my favorite YouTube channel out there is Ed's Retro Geek Out. So
Yeah.
what he does and like his room just inspired the crap out of me to just do this. And yeah, so yeah, I guess sort of back to the question, it was a video game. Video games I started picking up. It was a fantastic time for me to do it because I love the Xbox original,
Yeah.
the Xbox 360. So I focused on that because that was affordable.
Yeah.
And not that I go in for every game. And you would have saw a photo of the collection there. They're actually
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of games there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're double banked. And I didn't want to go down the line where I had like 15 FIFAs that I'd never played. So I tried to be a little bit strategic with it. But I've got about 50 games across both the original Xbox and the Xbox 360 that I still want to pick up. And then I'm happy and done. So, but I still don't know what to play when I look at it.
I mean, I find it quite incredible that you've gone from your Turtles that you had as a kid to everything you've got now. What was it then that kind of inspired you to think, I'm going to get myself some wrestling figures. I'm going to get myself some Simpsons figures. Do you know what I mean? What was it? I mean, once you started, you couldn't stop and that was it. You just snowballed because it's easily done. So what was it that inspired you to just collect all the stuff that you've got now?
People say it can be an addiction. I don't think I do it as an addiction. I do it for fun. Like really, I love coming out to this room and just like looking in the cabinets. But why did I have so many lines? I guess if I had something as a kid, so if I had a couple of the Terminator 2 figures as a kid, then I sort of started to look in what are the other figures? How hard is this to achieve? And while I pick up the occasional thing from eBay, a lot of my stuff is from conventions and things like that. I love the rummage through tubs. I've been quite lucky a few times going through tubs. But Street Sharks was a big line that I have. I'm actually one Street Shark away from the whole set.
Wow.
And I started picking them up before the craze. Like they're expensive now. And I used to get them for like $5-10. But now they're $60-70 each. It doesn't matter what
really.
Figure.
Wow.
So I was very excited to know
but
that.
These were all like toy lines you had as a kid. You know, you just had one or two as a kid, not like a whole line like you did with the Star Wars or your Turtles.
Yeah. Few of them are like small soldiers. I didn't have any small soldiers as a kid. That's something that I picked up along the way. Obviously the DC McFarlane figures.
Yeah.
So I'm only trying to collect sort of that Zack Snyder Justice League sort of period. I'm not going into all them. Masters of the Universe, like I said, my older brother had, so I had the taste for them. I didn't really have any figures myself, so they're primarily just picked up in the last 5 years.
Okay.
But yeah,
I mean that's a great line. Again, that's a big line because you've got your Origins, you've got your Vintage, you've got your what's it called, the Revelations and stuff like that. So New Eternia figures, and again that's a pretty big line. Do you find yourself quite disciplined with when it comes to collecting, or you just hell for leather and just go for it?
I'm disciplined by the dollar amount.
Yeah, good point.
I've only got one Origins Skeletor figure. I just wanted that representation of what they are now. All the rest of vintage, and I'm not looking to complete the line. Not like I look at it and I think I could pick up a turtle for $600 instead of a Scarecrow. So that's my focus. I try to have a focus when I go to a convention. I try to pick up like maybe one thing from a few lines instead of dumping a whole lot of money on one big item. But Turtles have done that to me a few times. A few times we've gone into the convention. You see figures there you never see. They're complete with all their accessories, and you got to drop that money on at the start, and then the rest of the day is wandering around with no money in your pockets.
And then seeing loads of other stuff that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah. So would you say then turtles are I do apologize, excuse me. Would you say turtles are a priority for you?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I'm always looking for turtles, looking for merchandise pieces. So the other day there was a little $2 rummage bin, and we have these little mobile petrol. So they're the Mobile brand.
Okay.
It's a petrol company, and they're just 4 little cars with each of the turtles. They're just little pullback zip cars. They're
yeah.
only Australian release. So I just found them in a tub for $2 each, and like that's a score. Like that was fantastic to find. So
Awesome
like I said, I love the tub rummage.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen those turtle ones, but I know the kind of cars you mean because I think Georgie, she's got herself some of the ones with the Muppets.
Yeah.
Same kind of cars. You got like the Muppets in them as well. So yeah, bless her. But I mean, I'm not really asking you questions because basically the conversation's just flowing, so it's just leading into each sort of like, which is great. So awesome stuff. So, I mean, do you have a particular focus on a toy line, or I mean, I guess it's turtles, but I mean, would you dip into Star Wars even more, or would you go somewhere like your wrestling figures? Because you got a fair few wrestling figures.
Not wrestling, gladiators.
Wrestling. Oh, so gladiators.
Yeah,
okay. God,
so
I do apologize.
No, that's all right. So I don't own one wrestling figure. There's a
wow. So that those figures then are gladiators.
Yeah. So they're the Australian gladiators, and you would have saw one American gladiator. But I have waves. So I have right now I'm heavily Star Wars. So I'm always chasing Star Wars, ticking off, like looking up checklists and that and seeing what's out. And then I'll sort of go on to some turtles for a few months where I'm just turtle fans. So I did at the start of the year, I just wrote down 10 like toys. This is my focus, achievable. And I reckon I haven't done any of that.
Oh, wow. So what is that for the year? This is the list that you want to get these figures or these bits and bobs for the year. I don't do that. I mean, I do go to a toy fair and I have a list of all the stuff and that I'm needing to, well, not needing to get, but want to get to add to the collection. And I just come back with all sorts of different stuff. I think I went to Echo the other week and there's only 2 bits that I come back with that I've actually got on my list. The rest of it is just it's crazy.
It always happens. I'm a checklist guy, so everything's like on my phone. What do I need ticked off? So especially turtles. Like, what is that? What is that one accessory I need? Like if I don't have a list, there's no way I can tell. So
So when you buy your stuff, then are you quite happy not to buy it complete?
Yes. Yeah.
You are.
So I went hard with the turtles just figure. So I was just picking up any and every figure that I didn't have. And then I got to a point where I started thinking I better start getting these accessories.
Yeah.
I was lucky there was a guy at a few of the conventions last year and he just had tubs of accessories and he just let us go through, pick out what we wanted and then bundle it all up into a nice price for us. So right now, I'm still nowhere near complete when it comes to accessories, but I think I've got 15 more figures left for the first 4 waves.
Okay.
So,
what are the prices like then for the accessories? Because I know a lot of the Star Wars ones, especially the vintage Kenner ones, some of the weapons and the guns and stuff like that, and they're expensive on their own. Is that the same with the turtles?
No, I wouldn't say anything like Star Wars in the prices. Like some of these you pick up for $5-10. If you're going for some of the harder figures, you might be paying $30-35 for. But you can get big weapons lots off eBay probably for about $150, and you'll get a lot in.
Okay.
So, I've done that a few times. It's good fun sorting through.
So do you just take out the stuff you need to move the other bits that you don't really want? You move that on, do you? I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
You have to recoup a bit of the money, and
Yeah.
so you can buy more stuff to add.
Well, this is true. True. Do you have a grail piece that you are after? And when I say grail piece, like I said, I don't mean it's got to be the most expensive thing in the world. It could be
Yeah.
something like you say you've seen at a toy fair and you think, I'll come back and get that. And you go back and it's gone. You don't get to see it again for God knows how long.
I sort of prepped that you would ask this question. A grail piece that I don't have. This is the grail piece that I got last year. So this is the Playmates Technodrome from the Turtles.
Wowzers, that's incredible.
So these things
is that complete? Is that complete?
Yeah, this is 100% complete.
Oh.
My wife actually surprised me. She found one of these.
Wow.
And got it for me. Is that? Yeah. So I just wanted to show that because that is the grail piece I wanted. And I wanted it for years. In Australia, they don't pop up that much. And they started going up in price. So she found that. And she found it at 98% complete. So I was lucky enough to pick up the last 2 bits I needed to complete it 100%. But it was so nice to have that nostalgic opening of a Playmates 90s turtle.
I guess it was a total surprise for you, was it?
Yeah, it was. I had no idea that she had picked that up. So
was it like a birthday, Christmas, or was it just
Christmas? No,
Christmas.
So it was wrapped up under the tree. The rest of the toy crew knew about it. She'd been reaching out to everyone saying, who's got a Technodrome? I need one. So
that is so awesome, though, for her to do that. That is quality. Yeah. That is absolutely what a gem.
She loves this stuff as much as I do.
So your wife's into collecting as well?
Yeah, 100%. So our channel is primarily myself on screen.
Yeah.
But she loves it well. She's into the vintage Disney and the Indiana Jones figures. They're hers.
Okay.
She
vintage
loves
Disney. That's interesting.
Yeah, she likes just that sort of memorabilia stuff around.
Oh, okay.
But Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, they're her two lines. So she has fun collecting them. She's not a completionist or anything. She just picks it up if she sees it. So
yeah. Would you class yourself as a completionist?
In certain items, so like the first 4 waves of the Turtles,
yeah,
I want to be a completionist of that.
Yeah.
This and the Street Sharks, figure wise for them, I just want to say, yes, I've got all the Street Sharks, or yes, my Turtles are complete. That'd probably do me when it comes to completionist.
That is awesome. So that was your grail piece from last year, then. So what about moving forward to another grail piece?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I don't have room for it, but it's the vintage collection sail barge. So that would be mine. And I did see one at a convention. It didn't last long on the shelf.
No.
No, I think it went for about just over 3K. So
Australian.
Yeah, that was probably a year and a half ago now.
Yeah,
that was there.
Yeah, I not too sure if you're aware, but I've got myself a sail barge.
Yeah, I
got it. I got it from the secondary market. I got it on eBay from the States, and I thought decent price, so I bought it. I didn't realize I totally forgot about import tax and shipping fees, which added a lot of money on there. So I'm just bloody hell.
Especially the size of it.
Yeah, it's a great piece. It's a great piece. It really is.
Yeah, that's my holy grail wish. So I try not to make too many holy grails that are achievable because it's not a holy grail if it's achievable. But I guess the sail barge is achievable if I want to buy it. But
yeah, well, I just think it's such a shame that it wasn't put out for the rest of the world. It was just predominantly America, wasn't it? And it's such a shame because I would hate to think how much that would go for now if they did re-release that.
Yeah,
or just the barge. You didn't have the figures with it because obviously people are would start like getting upset because that was supposed to be an exclusive and stuff. So
yeah, I know you've asked other people like, would you want it re-released? And most people say no. Like, but Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I guess. Yet they re-released the Slave one, don't they?
Yeah.
But again, that wasn't a HasLab, was it? It wasn't an exclusive,
No.
I guess. So, what about a sentimental piece or a prized piece within your collection? Do you have one of those or both?
My sentimental, I would say that's a tough one, because everything that I had from my childhood
Yeah,
as a whole is sort of sentimental, and I guess the sentimental part came from like working through it with my father, like
yeah,
sorting it all out. Like we set up big long tables in this room and just laid all the turtles out, laid all the weapons out, and we just spent a whole day. I think we were here for about 7 hours just trying to figure out what weapons went with what. I guess that's the sentimental part for me now.
yeah.
Um, I don't know if I could pick just one item. Yeah, it's a tough that's a tough question.
Mm. I mean, I think it's great with the fact that you spent time with your dad doing that. I mean, that must have been a great feeling in itself.
Yeah, like I said, that was touching. I've said it before in videos, that it's just like, just to have that memory and that time,
Yeah,
because he would have been standing there like giving us those figures as kids, and we're ripping them open. He would have been enjoying that moment as well. As I said, he's a collector. He has a lot of stuff. He still likes to collect all the Star Wars figures now that pop
oh
out.
wow,
Well,
wow.
whatever looks good on the shelf, and he finds.
Yeah, yeah.
So he got to enjoy that moment. I'm getting to enjoy that moment now with my son. So
Is
he's
he into
ripping.
collecting as well then? Yeah.
Well, he's 2, so he's
Oh, he's,
into.
no, maybe not then. Maybe that's a bit too young. But yeah,
He's into the new turtle. Like, I bought him all the new Mutant Mayhem figures.
yeah,
So I guess there's that sentimental cascade from my father to me to my son, just playing with all this. Like, it's in cabinets, but I allow him in here. I
yeah,
allow him to feel what the room is, touch a bit of the things. I've got a few Star Wars helmets. He loves putting them on. So I guess that's the sentimental part of my collection, is sharing it and
yeah.
having that enjoyment.
No, that's so cool. I mean, my dad, bless him, he was literally down the dump, just about to throw a box out when he decided to look into it, and then he found like a load of old vintage Motu figures in there, and he phoned me up and said, "Oh, I think you might like these." I said, "Damn right, I would." You
Yeah.
know, so it would have been nice if he'd have looked in the box before he went down the tip. You know, he was literally going to throw it, and he just thought, "I better look in here." It's like, so I could have, yeah, but
Yeah, you
no,
hear so many stories of that.
eh?
You hear so many stories of that, like
Oh, yeah,
people's
yeah,
collections like got thrown out or went to the op shop, and yeah. So yeah, sentimental is because I still have it and I get to enjoy
yeah.
it. So,
Well, it's nice because I never had any toys as a kid, or like toys from my childhood. So when I got those Motu figures, I was like, wow, okay, I now have toys that I had as a kid in my collection. That's all I really sort of like wanted. I've got all this Star Wars vintage stuff here, but none of it is from my childhood.
yeah.
It kind of breaks my heart really, because I remember the day that my dad come home, and he had his friend with him and said, "Oh, your Star Wars stuff up in the loft. You're getting a bit old for it now. Do you want it?" And I was
Mm,
kind of like, not felt like I'd been put on the spot, but I was like, well, I guess not. And
yeah.
so all this Star Wars stuff got packed into these boxes and then just taken out to this car, and then I'm watching it drive off, And it was a few weeks later, we went round the house, and the stuff was just a state. It was a mess, and I was like, oh, what? Just
No, no.
gutted, seeing stuff that you'd looked after as a kid, like broken and limbs come off and
Yeah.
guns missing, and it was gut wrenching. But you live and learn. It's
You've got the Motu, so you do have that feeling.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, I went back up in the loft and checked and double checked to make sure there's nothing else up there. So there's a couple of bits up there still which I've just put to the side and said, right, do not throw that out, for the love of God, don't throw that out. But yeah, I mean, those Motu figures, I cleaned them up. I sort of like repaired them and put new rubber bands in on the legs and stuff like that. So they're on display now. So yeah, I'm happy as Larry. But it does break my heart when I think about the Star Wars stuff. But there you are.
yeah.
There you go. If you could only collect one toy line going forward, what would it be and why?
Only collect one toy line.
Yeah.
I guess I would have to say Star Wars, just because there's so much of it. Like,
Yeah.
it would take you years, and why Turtles is like, that's just tough. That stuck me right in the middle, didn't it? Turtles is done. Like, there is no more Turtles. The Star Wars is still going. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'd have to be Star Wars. The TVC line's just so good. So, like, they just look beautiful. So
Would that be the line you focus on, TVC?
yeah, and that's the line I'm focusing on now. So
Right.
I'm really enjoying, like, the figures themselves. But like I said, I should have started way earlier. So
Well, yeah, I can say the same thing. Yep.
but I mean, I'm enjoying, and I guess 50-50 in the community, where they start releasing some of the older figures, like Salacious Crumb's going to come out in the Jabba's throne room.
Yeah.
And I know you've got people upset because that takes off the rarity of the Salacious Crumb that came out on the mini card, but they are putting the A on the end. So
Yeah, well, not only that Salacious Rum card is a Revenge of the Jedi card.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
So you know, it's okay. You're going to have a Revenge and a Return of the Jedi card. Not many people are going to get that Revenge of the Jedi card, and it's the same with the Power Droid. They're not the Power Droid, the Mouse Droid. They're not going to get that. They're not going to, you know. I've seen people buy it, and they've got the whole set in this big Death Star case thing. It looks absolutely fantastic, and if I had the money, I'd be like, that would be right up my street.
But I love that gives me an opportunity to get a Salacious.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I'm like you. I started into TVC when it was like TVC 2.0. So
Yeah.
I've hardly got any of the figures from 1.0. You know, I've pre-ordered that Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Because I wanted a Jango Fett, a decent looking Jango Fett, an updated version. And I wasn't going to be able to afford to get that on TVC card 1.0.
Mm-hmm. Same.
So I was hoping they would do it on a card back, but when it was deluxe thing, wasn't it? So yeah.
I cannot stand those big boxes, like the deluxe. Like,
There's no yeah.
When you open it, you're like, where's the rest of it?
Yeah, it's rude. It's rude. I mean, it's just a way of making money, and I know companies have got to make money, but I mean, we still buy them. That's the issue. You know, we moan about it, but we still buy the stuff.
Yep, but they did Mando on that big card with the spider.
They did, yeah. But then that wouldn't fit in one of the Bista bubbles, though, would it? One of those
no, it wouldn't.
Things? No. So what do they do?
What do we do?
Yeah. So, I mean, do you go back with your TVC and then try and get as many figures as you can from TVC 1.0, or are you just focused on what they're doing at the moment?
Picking up what they do at the moment, but I sort of just cherry pick a few here and there where I see them. I don't like the start prices of the TVC, so we're looking at $35 straight up new figure in Australia. And I'm just like, oh, and they only last there for a couple of months. The problem is, in Australia, once they're gone, like, it's really hard to find them. So you really just got to put the money down on the new wave that comes out. And yeah,
do you buy that? Do you find yourself buying the whole wave then, or is it just
that
wave? You do buy the whole wave, yeah. Okay. And what about the retro figures? Are you into the retro carded figures with the rubbish edges and the big retro sticker? No, not into those.
I love the rubbish edges. No. Look, I got a couple when they first came out. A few of the, like, Boba Fett figures, but I just looked at them. I was like, why am I buying Boba Fett retro and Boba Fett vintage when I can do so much more with the vintage? And the Boba just sits there. So no, I stopped that pretty quick and just went, no, that's a figure I can buy in the vintage collection. I don't need a double. I'm amazed it's still going, but like, so many people I hear say that they don't collect the retro, but they keep bringing them out. So
no, I mean, this is like a topic that sort of like divides opinion, really, or splits opinion. For me personally, I think the retro collection should just be for the original trilogy. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, I know people are like saying about like the sequels, not the sequels, the prequels. I guess now 25 years, I guess that can count as retro. But for modern day stuff, that like like the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and those kind of, I just think you don't need to do that for those.
I
Not
kind of would have
really.
loved. I kind of would have loved. See, retro for my age is the Power of the Force 2 line, the muscly
Yeah,
Motu style. So
yeah. Cool.
why
Can
not?
you imagine them bringing those back out again?
But like episode 1 figures in that, like
Yeah.
like that because, but the retro line for the vintage, like the 70s line, like that would have been good for figures we didn't get, like Tarkin and things like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
still-
Again, people have been
still
saying
those
that as well. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So with you're not into Black Series, then you're not into the 6-inch. It's all predominantly 3 3/4 for you.
Yeah, it's all 3 3/4.
Yeah.
Just the room, the room that you need for those 6 inches. And again, I don't need to buy 6-inch 3 3/4. Bit of
Sure.
focus. Have a bit of focus.
Well, it's more like discipline, really. I'm just
Yeah,
discipline swine. I mean, to be fair, I have cut back right on. Well, I've cut back a lot on the Black Series figures. I'm just picking up, like, for example, this is the latest purchase I picked up, which was K2SO.
Oh yeah.
And the only
Nice.
reason I got him is because I've not got him, and I just need him to finish off my Rogue One team, and now I've got him. That's complete. So, but predominantly it's like the anniversary card backs and stuff like that for the 40th anniversary for Jedi, Empire, and Star Wars. I mean, for me, it's just the card backs. The figures, they're pretty cool as well, but the card backs are just such a sucker for those original looking card backs.
I do get sad when they release the Black Series figures, but then you don't get that figure in the 3 3/4, and you're just like,
Yeah, I don't get that. Why? I don't get that.
I know.
don't get
I
that.
don't know what their plan is. Is it like we'll
Well,
bring
it's
it
just
out?
like,
here?
so
Like,
you can complete the team from Rogue One in the Black Series, but you can't do it in
Yeah.
TVC because they've not done Baze Malbus.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the Bad Batch. You've got the whole Bad Batch team twice in the Black Series, but you've only got Hunter in the Vintage collection. It doesn't make sense.
oh, you could talk about the Bad Batch figures for days. God.
You're not keen on those?
Well, no, I'm not keen on that. I'm not keen on the fact that we only got Hunter and then
Oh yeah.
nothing for what, 2 years now, nearly. So
No, it's mad, isn't it?
So yeah.
Well,
like,
yeah. That's 2 years. Good God. Yeah.
It's on everyone's March Madness list. It's plastered all over. Give us Bad Batch.
Yeah. Well, do
And
you
like,
reckon it's going to be the HasLab? Do you reckon it's? Well, no, it's not. People are saying it's going to be a Cantina.
Yeah,
I think
sometimes I wonder what Hasbro are thinking when they think 90% of the people think it's a Cantina and they're not doing that. They're probably sitting back laughing. But a Cantina would be nice, I think. But yeah, I don't know.
What about a Marauder, Bad Batch Marauder with the figures?
That'd be cool. But they just did a ship, so you think
they did
another one?
Well, I mean, they did the Ghost, they did the Razor Crest, didn't they? So, and then they've done the Sail Barge.
Yeah, true. Well, maybe that's you might be right. But there has to be a way. Like the Bad Batch is finished now. I would have expected figures to come out at the release of that last season, get you all hooked in.
Yeah, I see. This is what I love about the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that. You had figures, well, apart from the original Star Wars, because everybody was caught with their pants down. They didn't realize that it was going to be a massive success.
Yeah.
But after that, Empire Strikes Back, you had figures out before and around the time the film was released. It's the same with Jedi. Do you know what I mean? So why can't they do that now? There's no reason for it. Why they can't.
I don't think they do it. They seem to just go with anniversaries of things now. Anniversary comes up, let's put some figures out to celebrate. And that's it. I might have to do some videos on this.
Talking of videos, what got you into doing a YouTube channel?
what got me into doing a YouTube channel?
Mm.
Well, so I'm very fresh to YouTube, and so I guess it was Ed's Retro Geek Out. Ed's Retro Geek Out was the channel that I found, and that sort of got me thinking. As I said earlier, I could create a space with all my stuff because I had all this and I was sharing it with no one. It was like me and my dad would hang out in here and my wife, but that was it. So that really got me thinking, this is how I'm going to create the room. I didn't think of YouTube at that stage, and it wasn't until I started sort of engaging with local YouTubers. So Scott Crusher.
Yeah.
So I saw his video. I think it was his first video he did on a convention that I went to, and I was like, and it was funny in that video. He had picked up and purchased items that I had in my hand earlier, and I put them all down. I think there was 3 items in that video that I looked at and didn't buy, and I just thought to myself, this guy sort of likes what I like.
Yeah.
He had gladiators. That was one of the things he bought, and so I messaged him and I said, "Hey mate, I've got some gladiator doubles. You've got some. Do you want to have a swap?" So we sort of met up the next convention and sort of hung out, and that sort of got I thought of like, okay, he's doing YouTube and that, and then I met Matt and Andrew from Keep On Collecting.
Oh, yep.
And that's sort of our sort of toy crew now, along with some other people. But my wife sort of said to me, "Why don't you start an Instagram?" And I was like, "I don't have an Instagram. What is that?" So I started doing that, and it was like a photo a day of the collection.
Yeah.
And people loved it, and it was building my confidence. I started doing reels, and then I went, you know what, 2024, I'm going to start my own channel. I've got so much here that I want to share.
You've got a hell of a lot to show. Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and the creative juices, like the first episode, I must have sat there for about, I don't know, 3 hours going over and over it. And I'm going, God, I felt like I was like stone rock. And I was like, oh, I've got to get loose. So I started making it this year. So I think we're 6 or 7 episodes in.
Wow.
Loving what I do. Like I said, creative juices are going. So many videos I want to make. But
yeah.
Why did I start? Fun, sharing it with other people, like having those boys over now and talking, and it's an extension of the room. So while I get to enjoy the room by myself, and I buy pieces and I bring them in and I put them on the shelf, I now get to bring them in, talk about them in more depth, and massive part of Ed's Retro Geek Out channel is the toy history videos he does. And I by no means are going to get that sort of quality of research in toy history, but I like to do a little bit. So I like the understanding of toy history. So fun, sharing. That's why I started it. And
I mean, they're probably the best reason to do it. It's for fun. I mean, it can be time consuming. I will say that.
Yeah. I'm only aiming for 1 video a month. Sort of planned out like between toy history, pickups, conventions. We've got a bit of a road trip next weekend, so that'll be nice to film that.
But you've been on a few live streams as well, haven't you? So that's pretty cool.
Been on quite a few live streams. So we started up our own live stream between Scott Crusher, Dan from Insane in the Toy Brain, and Enzo from Oz Retro Gamer. So we're called the Mutagents,
right?
Which is it's a Turtles based live stream. So once a month we talk about everything Turtles, not just what's happening in the turtle world, but we'll pick a subject or something like that and we'll focus. So this month we're going to just do a sort of retrospective on the first season of the cartoon series from 1987. So we just do a bit of breakdown, bit of fun, but all different live streams. Keep On Collecting, like Ryan Reynolds and Reynolds Review. Sorry.
Luke. Yeah.
Shabby's once. Love Shabby. So yeah, I'm always,
that's awesome, man. Awesome.
yeah.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Right, I've got 2 questions for you. We're coming to the top of the hour, so got 2 questions left. What gives you that toy collecting buzz?
I think just standing in this room, thinking back to the memories of these figures and of these the times that I play with them, and still do.
Yeah.
I still do try to play with them a bit. I love the hunt. I think that is a major one, and we did a lot of op shop days with my wife and that. So we used to just plan out a whole lot of op shops and just hit them all up and see what we could find. The hunt, I think, is a massive part of it. Even when you go to conventions, you never know what you're going to find that day. It's so much different than just going to the shop and buying a toy off the shelf that you know's out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what gets me going. That sort of enjoyment.
I kind of like, you kind of touched on it a bit earlier as well when you said you got the majority of your stuff from actually toy conventions and you've not got it from online and stuff like that. And I think that's great. I commend that, because I wish that I could just have that kind of, like, not to say discipline, but it is so easy, isn't it? Just to go online, you get a pre-order and you click yes and stuff like that. You don't have to do anything, do you? Just sit there in the comfort of your own home. But to actually go out and physically find stuff, I mean, that's wow.
I enjoy I also enjoy like an online auction. So
yeah,
there is one guy I watch for an online auction. He does it once a fortnight. I might only pick up one thing, but that's just fun. It's fun to have in the background. Like, it's usually on a Saturday night or something. You just have it on in the background.
Yeah.
If something pops up, you can be like, I'll try to win that. If you don't, you don't. But digging through tubs at conventions, finding to Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. Do you know that wave?
Okay. I've heard of Captain Power, yeah.
So extremely difficult to find those, and Visionaries. You know Visionaries?
Yeah, I know Visionaries, yeah.
They're very difficult to find in Australia. So I found a few of them just rummaging through a tub, and just to hold them up, and they go, $10 for the whole lot.
They're the ones with the holograms on the chest, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're expensive. They are carded.
Yeah, definitely. I don't have any carded. I do have the box of one. And a few of the figures. So they're like, you look on eBay and there won't be any in Australia. So if it's not in Australia, you've got to pay postage. And if you're getting anything from America, then you might as well triple what you're paying for it already.
Yeah, that's bad. That's right. Yeah, that works out expensive, really expensive. Last question. What does your collection mean to you?
What does it mean to me? I guess I've touched on it already. Like, it's just a happy place. I wanted the room to be functional, not just a toy room that you come in. So, it's got the couch, folds out to a bed. You can watch movies, play games. It's just a sort of, I guess you say, happy, safe place where you just get to enjoy, get away from the world, and just go back a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
To a simpler time.
Oh, God, how we yearn for those days.
I know. So it's good to have that space. Like, I love sitting out here. I like bringing the little fella out here and just get him to. He just goes, whoa.
Oh man, that's gonna be so cool. That's got to be so cool.
So
I mean, listen, I think you've got a fantastic collection. I've loved what you've done with it. And by the way, I didn't get all your pictures in on your intro, so there will be more of your photographs in the outro. So we're going to get to see all of your collection and stuff like that. But oh God, that is so impressive. I just love what you've done. I love how you display it. I've got to say, not all the lines are for me, but nonetheless, it's still impressive to look at. I mean, I can see the turtles behind you, and they do look so cool. It does. It looks tremendous. Yeah, really liking that. Not too sure about the Funko Pops though, but
there's There's a great story behind Funko Pops.
Go on
I
then.
was once on a live stream. So most of these Funko Pops are from when they sort of started, and then I picked up a couple, and then I decided, nah, these aren't for me. But I don't know, I can't let them all go now. So I was in a Mutagents live stream, and I said, I don't really like Funko Pops. They're not my thing. And I was sitting like this. And they all went, but you've got them in your collection. So then people started giving me Funko Pops now. Saying, you're the Funko Pop guy, here you go. And I'm like, thank you.
I sympathize with you. I sympathize with you. I don't collect My Little Ponies, but apparently, according to the toy community, I do now. So now I have 4 of them. Brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And it's not something that I would go out and physically buy myself. So, and they say, what, you know, you don't turn them down. But if someone's gifted something to you and there's a reason for it, then I'm going to not turn it down and just say, look, sentimental value, you know, and brilliant stuff. So, apparently now I'm a brony. Brilliant. I like it. Awesome stuff. So, maybe that's a toy line you could get yourself into.
My Little Pony.
No, not for you. No. Okay,
I don't think I have much on what you would class as the girls' lines. Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah. Well, this all started from Shabby with My Little Pony, and he somehow just deflected it all onto me, and he's just buggered off. The swine.
One day you'll be like, I only need 5 more to go.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to end up with 4, but there you are. But anyhow, Dean, that has come to the end of the chat, my friend. It has been absolute amazing chatting to you. Really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much. Where can people find you on social media? Let me just get a pen.
So find me at Totally Taylor Retro Hunters on YouTube and on Instagram.
Insta. Awesome stuff. And what I will do is I will leave the links to your social media platforms in the description below. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for being part of the series.
Thank you.
People like yourself. Pardon?
Thank you. No, I just
no. Like I say, the pleasure's all mine. And if it wasn't for people like yourself, I wouldn't have a series. So awesome stuff. Thank you so much. Anyhow, that has come to the end of this episode. Appreciate you all watching. If you stayed this far into the conversation, thank you very much. Again, there's going to be more of Dean's pictures in the outro. So anyhow, that's it for this episode. Take care, stay safe, and we shall see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.